So we go to the Netherlands and I got settled in. Having gotten there a week in advance for orientation, it was very easy for me to try to get to learn where to find the supermarkets, the stores, the train, the transportation buses, and all those things. And because John was with me, everything was a lot easier. So we went around shopping for the different things that I need in the house. We went and saw the university and walked around, saw where my classes would be. I got to know what amenities were near my flat so that when I finally started school, it would not be something that was very hard for me to do. So John stayed with me for that week and then went back home. And John was able to travel with me anyway because in the company that he worked for, he is in the IT department, and there are days that he can work away from work. He can work at home. So that was very easy for him to take a week off and still work on his computer without feeling like he was missing out on his job. So he left a week later and I started my life in the Netherlands alone. Oh, that was a very exciting time. That was a very exciting time. I got to know the people, the culture, the food, the transport, the environment, everything was so different from Uganda, but that was exciting. I had the things I'd never had before. Cheesecake? What's that? That was so... It tastes so good. It tastes so good. I'd never had that in Uganda. So I started to go crazy on it. I ate cheesecake almost every day. What was wrong with me? Anyway. And of course, when I got into class, I met some few Africans, and that was also nice. They were not from Uganda, but it was nice to see someone who looked like me. And in my class, we were about 5 Africans, and the rest were Europeans from different parts of Europe. And so I found myself being put in different groups for like courseworks and things like that with Europeans, and that was good because I wanted to learn a different culture. I wanted to deal with people that I'd never dealt with, so that was something that was very, very, very exciting for me. And when I would go back home in the evening, I would talk to John. He would call, my parents would call Irene. I would call Irene sometimes, or would text. So it was good. It felt like I was in a different world, but still maintained the kind of relationships that I had while I was in Uganda. So a few months down the road, about 5 months in, I started to feel a bit homesick. Yeah. All the excitement, or the initial excitement, had worn off, and now the pressures of being in this course and living in this world that was not something I was used to started to pile on me. Everything was faster than it was in Uganda. People were very individualistic. They did not live like Ugandans. We did not say pass by your neighbors and say hi, know who your neighbors are, or talk to your neighbors. The food was beginning to get to me a bit. I miss home. I miss the food that I used to have at home. I missed matoke. I missed katoko. I missed all those things because I could not find them in the Netherlands. And then the weather was harsh. It was cold, and people would just stay in their houses. And that made me a bit homesick. And because of the distance between John and I, we had started to fight a bit and not talk for days sometimes, and that was beginning to really take a toll on me. And just around that time, I met Lucas. Lucas was the Dutch guy that lived in my flat and went to school in my university. And when I met Lucas, my life changed.